Guess what happened to me? I got into a little spat with a Hollywood celebrity on X, formerly Twitter.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Your own StudioJake host got into a little bit of a tussle on X, social media platform owned by Elon Musk. It was a very interesting conversation because it really highlights the different perspectives, audience versus celebrity, this person. So who was this? This is Fringe star. He was a former cast member of the hit show Fringe. Kirk Acevado. He also goes by Kid Vicious. He's been in several movies and several TV shows. And I just want to preface what I'm about to discuss that I have seen him act. He is a very talented actor. So one of my criticisms of his argument do not reflect on his acting skills. I just want to get that out of the way. I have nothing but respect for his skills as an actor. So I just wanted to preface that with this. I have seen this man act. He's very talented. So, with that out of the way, he posted an article on Deadline where he was discussing how what he was calling middle class actors, how the pandemic affected them, how the strikes affected them. And he posted sort of a TLDR version of the article on X. So I'm going to read that to you in its entirety because I don't want to misrepresent him or what he said. So we had a very interesting back and forth. A special guest star joined in with the conversation. It was very interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. And by the way, all this is still on X as of the recording of this. No one has deleted any of their tweets. So he says, the middle class actor's future in Hollywood is slowly being forced into extinction like the dinosaur. After 2 years of COVID, I've had friends who had to sell their homes and live off their savings to get through, myself included. The vid changed the entire industry for the worse. Actors are no longer meeting the people who do the hiring in a room anymore. Instead, you're doing a home audition off your phone, wondering if anyone even watched your audition tape. Then a year later, we have an 8-month actor and writer strike, a strike that was needed. No, it wasn't, for fair working wages for all. And now, after striking, there are zero auditions because there's zero products. Oh, could the strike have done something to this? Anyway, networks and studios, because of mergers and cutbacks, are producing way less content, and we're also in a recession, which affects casting directors, agents, etc., etc. I don't know the solution. If the industry is dead, how do you start a new career at my age? I only know how to act and maybe rob people. I'm kidding, kinda. But seriously, what do you do? How do you get enough work for health insurance if there is no work? I've done almost 250 hours of scripted television, and now they want you to audition for a guest spot and only pay you for 2 days' work. Am I the only one that thinks that's insane? Why ask actors to audition to play a cop, a criminal, or any other character if they have over 200 hours of tape themselves already playing a cop and a criminal? Every actor is applauding me right now, and he puts a smiley face. Again, I don't know the answer. I just know the industry I love is in big trouble right now. So there's a little bit of interesting stuff here, but there's also a severe lack of self awareness. First of all, SAG and WGA did not need to strike. They, in fact, strike at a worst possible time. There was a downturn in the industry. You never strike when there's a downturn because that just tells the studio heads that they don't need you. And obviously, Kirk is being affected by this. Also, he's forgetting kind of one thing. Why is there such an industry downturn? Well, he kind of blames the current pandemic, but could there be another reason? Maybe it's the fact that woke has taken over the system. And so I brought this up to him. I responded to this. I actually was not expecting a reply at all. I said, if actors had not bought the big pharma propaganda, they would have developed trust in the audience. Instead, adult pretenders like Alyssa Milano, and I'll add now Jimmy Kimmel, were telling us we should die. That's a key point you leave out. And so, to my shock and awe, he responded to me. He said, stop making it about politics. The reason why this is happening is not political, but because of greed. And then so I replied, it is about both. The celebrity class is way out of touch with their audience. As a result, they support big pharma and high taxes, stuff that doesn't affect them with their multi-million dollar plus paychecks. Greed plays a part, but their politics expose how elitist they are. And this is a fact. This is a fact. Well, the rules are the rules, and the facts are a fact. The audience has separated from the celebrity class because of how elite they are. I remember Madonna. She did this really famous, I think it was an Instagram live video where she's bathing in milk and she's talking about how much she works compared to a trucker. As she's bathing in milk in this incredibly beautiful porcelain bathtub, for one thing, ooh, but secondly, seriously? That's just one example after another. Jimmy Kimmel, he did an interview with LA Times. I talked about it on yesterday's video where he was whining about, oh, I have to look at scripts. Oh, I have to make pictures to the Oscars. You know who doesn't get to do that? Me and the rest of the audience. So don't whine about your workload to us. But anyway, neither here nor there. Well, again, I'm not expecting him to respond. But then he actually did something interesting because Matthew Marsden, who is really a sharp guy, he is a fantastic actor. You've seen him on all kinds of stuff like Coronation Street, like Black Hawk Down, like Rambo. He is a fantastic actor, but he has been blacklisted because he departs a lot from the Hollywood line. So he responded to Kurt when he said stop making it about politics, and he says it is about both. Hollywood has always been about greed. That hasn't changed. Not giving the audience what they want is at the root of all this, combined with an obvious contempt for the fan bases that buy the product and woke hiring policies. So Kirk responds to him and says there is no woke hiring policies because if there was, I'd be working left and right. No pun intended. Now Kirk he's making this claim because he's Puerto Rican. So he's an LGBTQ friend. He's got that in his bio. I don't know why, it's dumb. But anyway, so I responded to him, dude, we all saw the leaked Disney requirements. Of course there is. There is being a woke hiring policy. Denial won't solve that. So he responded again and he said, like I said, I'll repeat it. It was about hiring. It wasn't, if it was about hiring woke people, then I'd be working all the time. It's not political. And then so I responded, because this is very arrogant to say, oh, if there was, I'd be working because I'm so great. And again, he's very talented, but come on, man. So then I responded, I love how you make it about yourself, but yes, it is political. All of the narrative, not to mention all of the pandering most of the celebrity class does, is focused in one direction. And I say most because there are people like Matthew Marsden, like Stacey Dash, like Keanu Reeves, like Denzel Washington, who kind of stay above the politics of it all. So that's why I said most, because it's not all celebrities. It's just a very loud majority. So he doesn't respond for a while, so I go back to doing other things, right? Well, then he responds to me, show me a link to these so-called Disney requirements. Okay, that was super easy, barely an inconvenience. So I said, I shared a link from the leaked, what they were calling the inclusion standards of Disney when they hire for ABC News or television or Disney films or Star Wars or whatever it is. And it is blatantly anti Christian, Jewish, Caucasian. It's blatantly all of that. And in some cases, even blatantly white gay men. It's they're being sued for this. And I talked about that in a different video. You can go back and watch that one. But they're being sued over this. This is known. So I shared him the link and I said, Disney is now being sued over this because they are. And that was kind of the end of the conversation. And he and Matthew Marsden went a little bit more over it, and he did respond to one other thing I wrote, but it's not really relevant to this conversation. You can go back and find it. Like I said, I haven't deleted anything, and as of the taping of this, neither has Kirk. So it just goes to show you the complete lack of self-awareness of their own industry, their lack of understanding, they're out of touch based with the audience. Celebrities, even Kirk, who's claiming he's a middle class celebrity, of course, to me, that means he's still upper class. He's still part of the elite. He's still part of the club that I'm not invited to, right? So it just goes to show you. And kudos to Matthew Marsden for also speaking out about this. He, like I said, he's a fantastic actor. He's very sharp. He makes frequent appearances in the news media talking about the issues with Hollywood. He's a strong Christian like myself. So I really applaud him for also coming in here and throwing out some truth bombs. But I just want to say, back to Kirk Acevado, it just goes to show you just how out of touch the elites in Hollywood are. And I always say it's about the pipeline. So it's not just Hollywood that's out of touch; it's the media, right? He's writing an article for Deadline, which nobody trusts anymore. Deadline is really just for the studio heads, which is maybe that's why he wrote this article in Deadline. He wanted the studio heads to see this, and which, if that's the case, good for him. But Kirk, you even in your own original TLDR of your article, you even make the point, how am I supposed to make the minimum for health insurance that the union provides? I hate to break it to you, buddy, but SAG is committing wage discrimination. You pay union dues, but they're not going to cover your health care if you don't make a certain amount of money? Absolutely stupid. You're already paying the dues. There should be no question about your health care. That's wage discrimination. So, it's just absolutely preposterous, these leaps in logics that these celebrities have to make when it comes down to this kind of thing, because there's just no way, no way that anyone in the world outside of the Hollywood bubble sees the logic in his argument. Yes, it's on a decline, but that's because Hollywood has alienated the audience. As Critical Drinker has pointed out, there's a reason Top Gun Maverick and Barbie did so well. Top Gun Maverick catered to a primarily male audience because they knew that was the audience for this movie. Barbie catered primarily to a female audience because that is the type of audience that they were seeking. It only makes sense. So, Kirk Acevedo, if you want to change Hollywood, if you want more roles, then you need to change the woke agenda inside of it. You and your friends and your peers need to leave SAG and WGA and the Directors Guild, all of those unions behind. They're only hurting you, and they're only making you look more out of touch. So if you do want to change Hollywood, reject these scripts with political agendas and focus on presenting your art, your cinematic artwork, to the very people who are desperate for it. Godzilla Minus One proves the audience is hungry for good storytelling. And for whatever reason, Hollywood has decided to abandon that in favor of a political agenda. That's why we're turning to anime. That's why we're turning to manhwas and mangas and light novels that are coming from the East, because we know that's where we can find stuff that don't have a political agenda. And whatever the case may be, I hope that people who are making alternatives to Hollywood, like Mark Wahlberg is in Las Vegas and Dennis Quaid in Texas, or what Kevin Sorbo is doing and what Matthew Marsden is trying to do, I hope that we get an opportunity to see those independent sort of studios flourish and to provide more incredible storytelling like they have in the past.
Cause I've been living life